All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. Today, we are going to be talking about insurances. Okay. Now, they're not going to go over all variations of insurances. It's going to take too long. And to break it down completely would take even longer. So we're going to look at the four major ones that you will, at one point in your life, need to get. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at that. All right, so here's your warm-up picture. I moved the little thing so you can see the quote there. Because the first question asks you to analyze the picture and analyze the quote that says on the bottom. And tell me what's going on here. Okay, so look at the guys, look what they represent, look what they have on, all that kind of stuff, right? And then the second question says, do you think hospitals, health insurance, and drug companies um, you know, take advantage of people when they're at their weakest? What do you think? Okay, so write your response to the question, okay, because we're moving on in three, two, one. All right, so again, like I said at the very beginning, there are four major insurances needed in your everyday life. There's car insurance, life insurance, renter's insurance, and home insurance. Okay. Now I know for a fact and eventually you guys are going to be driving if you haven't been driving already. And the thing is, car insurance is one of the only insurances required to have no matter which state you live in. You know, every state tells you you have to have car insurance in order to drive. The thing is, it's different about each state is how they enforce it and the minimum amount that there was required for your insurance. Some say all you need is like um, collision. Some say you need just the uninsured driver, um, part of the insurance. But most states say you need liability at the very least. Liability coverage is property damage and or injuries to another person caused by an accident that in which you are at fault. The accident is your fault. You were sleeping behind the wheel. You were distracted by something and you got into an accident. Okay, that's liability insurance. Now, what I would truly recommend for you guys, because again, you have to remember, driving is not, you could be the best driver in the world, right? You could be spot on, perfect, and great. But that doesn't mean everyone else who's driving on the road is going to be a good driver too. You have to basically be driving for the other people. They are bad drivers. You're going to have to like slow down, move out of the way, things like that, you know. Um, because again, following right behind them, trying to, keep up with them, you're only going to get yourself in an accident. Something's going to happen. So, what I would recommend, as you get older, is to get full coverage. And what's in full coverage? Usually, it's the main part of the car insurance bodily injury, property damage, uninsured motorist, um, PIP, which is personal injury protection, comprehensive, and collision. Okay. Now, the PIP, this is something I kind of feel like you guys should know about. It's personal injury protection. So this covers medical expenses caused by the car accident. So let's say you're driving and all of a sudden your wrist gets damaged, or your car crushes and it, gets your ankle and you have to have surgery. Um, it takes care of that. And the thing is, it doesn't matter if it's your fault or not. That money, that will go into that surgery and things like that for your bum ankle, your busted shoulder, whatever it may be. Now, collision, this pays for the cost of repairs on your car. Okay, so if you get hit by another car, and you can use this again if the accident is your fault or not. So let's say, hey, a car hydroplanes and it's swerving and swerving, and all of a sudden it hits you, and your front bumper just half of it comes right off. The collision clause in your full coverage will take care of that. Okay, even though hey, it wasn't your fault, hey, it's covered. All right. Now, deductible, you'll hear this term quite a bit. This is how much you pay out of pocket when you make a claim. Okay, you can make a $500 deductible, 1,000, 1,500, whatever it may be. Here's my recommendation. Okay, as your teacher and a person who cares about you, if you are accident prone, like you've been in a car and you get in a lot of accidents, you should really get that deductible low, because if you get in a lot of accidents, you're gonna have to keep making a claim and a claim and a claim, and then let's say you have $1,000 deductible, you're gonna have to pay $1,000 each time. So if you are, in a sense, accident prone, just seems like people are trying to hit you in the road, things like that. You have a target on your back. You should get a small deductible, and again, your premium rates will be high because of that. But still the deductible will be lowered. But if you're kind of a person who's, hey, you're cautious, you know, you watch the road, things like that, and you haven't been in much accidents, um, then you should bring that deductible up, 1,000, 1,500. So just in case, hey, something does happen, you get in a wreck, you know, that one time, you only have to pay $1,000. That's your deductible. Um, but again, if you're in multiple accidents, multiple things like that, yeah, you may want to lower your deductible. Okay. But again, high deductible, lower premium rates, low deductibles, higher premium rates, things like that. Now, a question that I basically have been asked is, what if you get in an accident and you don't have insurance? What happens to you? Well, here's the thing. In a nutshell, everything you happens you have to pay out of pocket, meaning you have to pay for it from your own um, account. Okay, medical expenses. If you get an ambulance and they take you to the hospital and fix up your collarbone or whatever, you get the whole grunt of the medical bill for everything. Medication, the doctor looking at you, the staying at the hospital if you stayed, the ambulance ride, all that stuff you have to pay for. The repairs of the car, everything for the car, you have to take care of that. When the cops come and they do a police report on the accident, they're going to find out, hey, you don't have insurance. Depending on how many times they've caught you without a driver, without insurance, the first time it might be a small fine, $250, $500. But if it's multiple times, yeah, they can really, really throw the book at you and fine you for that. Like, it can be pretty expensive. And also, if in your accident, property was damaged, your tire shot out of your car and went into someone's lawn and basically destroyed a fountain that was right there, you are going to have to pay for that, you know, and it just gets higher and higher and higher and higher. So it's best to have insurance on that kind of stuff, because again, the cost of everything else, it's way up here as opposed to paying the insurance down here. It just does you better. Okay. All right. So question number one, in your opinion, which part of the insurance is the most important to have and why? Bodily injury, property damage, uninsured motorists, PIP, or collision? So if you had to like do a checklist, which again they do this, you pick which part you want, in your insurance plan, or you can get like full coverage. But we're thinking about picking. Which one do you think would be the number one thing you would pick? Bodily injury insurance part, property damage, uninsured motorist, the PIP, collision. So think about it. Write your response. Okay, pause the video because we're moving on in 3, 2, 1. All right, now life insurance. I know you guys aren't thinking about life insurance because, again, you're so young, things like that, but hey, I get it. But if you were to go into the military, you may want to get some life insurance, okay? Life insurance is a contract between an insurance policy holder, you, and an insurer, them, where the insurer promises to pay a designated beneficiary a sum of money upon the death of an insured person. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into how much your premium rate would be. Okay, number one, your age. So the younger you are, the lower your rate would be. The older you are, the higher the rate. Gender, believe it or not, if you're a guy or you're a female, your rates would be different. Okay, typically girls live 6 years more than men. It's just the way it is, by stats. Then they look at your health, which we're going to get into a little bit. Tobacco consumption, you know, um, driving record, things like that. We're going to get to that in a second. Let's look at medical history. So they want to see what kind of medical conditions you have. Do you have asthma? Do you have, um, like Tourette's? Do you have, seizures and things like that? That all that plays a factor. Okay. Have you had surgeries? Have you had a open heart surgery? Cleared your valves, a um, double bypass, triple bypass, quadruple bypass in the heart. Have you had um, your liver, you know, kidney. Sorry, have you had your kidney replaced? Things like that. What medication do you take? Do you take asthma medicine? Do you take like medication for seizures or antidepressants, ADHD, ADD? All that stuff plays a factor. Then your family medical history. Do you have a family history of diabetics? Do you have a family history of uh, people with cancer? That plays a factor too. Your blood pressure, you know, that's a big factor too. How is your blood pressure in your body? And if you have a lot of stress, things like that, it's gonna be high. But if you're very mellow, things like that, you're cool, calm, hey, your blood pressure might be a little bit lower, which is good. Uh, then they're gonna check your heart. Again, they're going to try to hear for certain things, like one, an irregular heartbeat. Um, does your heart's like skip a beat, things like that. That plays a factor. Your height and weight. Now, when I say height and weight, I'm not talking about the BMI chart because that was not created by a physician. That was created by a mathematician who basically said at this height and this weight you would be perfect. Whereas if you got bigger than that, you are obese and things like that. So if you've seen the pictures like The Rock, he would be considered obese. But if you look at the man, he has like no fat on him. The man is just pure muscle. But according to the chart, he would be obese. Someone like Chris Hemsworth, the guy who plays Thor, he would be considered obese, like overweight. The man is pure muscle as well. How can he be obese? Because again, that chart is bad. But if you have a body type like me, you have that long on the side, you have that gut, yeah, that might play a factor. You know, yeah, that might play a factor. But again, just because someone's thin doesn't mean that they're healthy. Somebody who's my weight I could probably run a mile faster than a skinny person. You know, because again, skinny just because someone's thin doesn't mean they're healthy. It just means they're thin. It doesn't mean that they're stronger, they're faster, or anything like that. No, they could be just unhealthy. They could be, metabolize food faster. And, there you go. Doesn't mean they're stronger. Doesn't mean they're healthier. So that plays a factor as well. Blood sample, what's going on in your blood? There's things in your blood that tells these doctors, hey, this guy has this type of disease or, this type of thing going on. And this comes to the urine sample. You know, what's in your system? What have you taken? Pills, drugs, things like that. All plays a factor. Same thing too with lifestyle. Lifestyle is an interesting one. If you are a person who's a daredevil type of person, you like speeding in your cars, you like, parachuting out of a plane, you like um, doing things that could basically get you killed, your premium is going to go up in the life insurance. So all that kind of stuff plays a factor. So what I want you to do now is think how in 20-year time, when you're like 37, 38, which of these things do you think might cause some problems if you're trying to get life insurance? Do you think you're going to be having some medical problems in the future? Do you think maybe your family medical history might play a factor? Do you think your blood pressure is going to be okay? Or do you think it's going to be high? If especially if you have like a spouse, children, things like that. Do you think your heart is going to be okay in 20 years? What about your height and weight? Do you think that might be a problem? Because I hate to say it, if you're like 120 pounds, 130 pounds, you're probably not going to stay that weight in 20 years. I can almost guarantee you that. Okay. So, what do you think? So, write your response, pause the video, because we're moving on in three, two, one. Next is renter's insurance. It covers theft, water damage, certain natural disasters, and bodily injury. Okay. Um, so, this is an interesting fact 60% of renters don't have renter's insurance. Okay. Um, Now, the thing is, it says bodily injury. What does that mean? It basically means if someone gets hurt in your apartment, it'll be taken care of. Okay, so let's say you and somebody are watching TV in your living room. You get up to go get something to eat, and all of a sudden, the fan in the place just falls and hits that person in the head. That insurance would take care of that person's medical bills and things like that. It would protect you. Also, could protect from pet damage. Pets, especially little dogs, they can tear things up, walls and the edges, the frames and stuff like that. Uh, so it protects from that as well. The theft part, things like laptops, TV, game consoles, you know, kitchen items, blenders, things like that, air fryers. It um, you won't have to pay to replace them. It takes care of that kind of stuff. Um, But the thing is, you are going to need proof of purchase if you were going to say, "Hey, this stuff was stolen from my place." You are going to have some show some proof of purchase. You are going to have to show some receipts, invoices, delivery statements. Um, if you've ever ordered something from Amazon, they put that little paper on, inside saying, "Hey, this is what's in the box," things like that. That's an invoice, so you should really be saving those. Okay. Now we come to home insurance. And guys, I've been saying this to my students since like the dawn of time, basically. If you get a home, first thing you should buy is, or something you should pay for, is your mortgage. Number one thing. Second thing, the insurance. You need to have home insurance. Okay. What does a typical home insurance cover? Destruction and damage of the residential home inside and outside, the interior and exterior. Okay, the loss of or theft of possessions, which we will get to in a second. Okay, because there is a little thing on that. And personal liability for harm to others. So again, if you have a fan outside your patio and it falls down and it hits someone in the head, you're covered. Okay. Now there's three levels of coverage. Okay. One is cash value. So let's say you have a fountain in your backyard, it gets destroyed. If that fountain is irreplaceable, you will get the cash value of that. Okay. Let's say they don't make those fountains anymore. Here's the cash value. If let's say there's a flood, or let's just say I don't know, um, cops go through your home trying to chase a burglar. Um, the burglar and all them, they go tackling against your furniture, and your couch breaks. Well, your couch, they've made a bunch of these couches in America, so they can find a one to replace it. You will get the money to buy that replacement of that one because there is a replacement. The last one, extended replacement cost value. So things like if you had a moped and it got destroyed, um, you know, the garage caved in and destroyed it, they would basically pay for like a rent a car and things like that, till they can replace the moped. Okay. But going back to the loss and theft part of possessions, this is the thing I found out was pretty interesting. Um, it doesn't cover everything. Things like expensive jewelry, pearl necklace, you know, some old antique uh, jewelry set that belonged to your great 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 grandma. If you have artwork or collectibles, you know, let's say you have the original drawings of from the Dr. Seuss, those are worth money. All that stuff you need to have a separate insurance for. You have to basically have an insurance on those items. The home insurance doesn't cover them. Same thing as if you were someone broke into your house and stole your social security card. It doesn't protect you from identity theft. Okay. And also damage caused by an earthquake or flood. It doesn't cover that. Those things are a separate policy, earthquake and flood. They have their own different policies. It doesn't fall under the home insurance coverage. Okay. Um, and you can add them to your home or renter's insurance. So if you live, let's say, on the coast of California, yeah, you really should get earthquake insurance. But if you live in like Montana, maybe even like Kansas, you're not going to get much earthquake because there's no tectonic plates over there. You know, flood, on the other hand, sure, yeah. Even flooding counts as if the water main from the back of your toilet, let's say it came out the wall for some whatever reason, and the water that was supposed to go inside your toilet just started coming out, spilling everywhere, going on the carpet in one room and into the other, to the living room. That technically is considered a flood. Okay, we tend to think flood like the rivers rise, too much rain, and it just goes inside the house. But even then, like I said, water from inside the house, that the pipe or whatever busted and spilling water everywhere, that is considered a flood too. So if you don't have that policy, yeah, you're gonna have to pay for that yourself. Okay. Other factors that come into insurance, um, if you have a history of claims, like you have a long history of making claims, that can make your premium go up. The neighborhood you live in, if you live in the ghetto side, that can make your premium go up. If you live on the nice side, crime rate's lower, that would bring your rate down. But if you're living a high crime rate, it'll go up. Building material, how was your house made of? If it's made from the frame is made from steel, things that are sturdy, that's not gonna like if a car runs into it, it's not gonna break like wood would, then your insurance would be kind of low. But if it is something like fees like plywood, thing that's very breakable, your rates will be go higher. Okay. All right. So here's your next question. Do you think insurance is a scam, or do you think it's something that we truly need as people? Tell me what you think. What do you truly believe? Is it a scam, or is it something that we truly need and it benefits us? Okay, so pause the video, tell me what you think. All right, because we're moving on in three, two, one. All right, so now here's your exit ticket question. With everything you've learned from this life lesson section, money management, how credit works, how to get out of debt, your resumes and interviews, the do's and don'ts and things like that, insurance. Do you feel that you are prepared for adulthood? Do you think you're ready to take it on? Because again, a lot of you guys who are watching this are seniors, in high school. You, you're about to leave now. There's no more school for you. You're gonna have to go get a job, face the world, go to school, do something. Are you ready for that? Tell me what you think. All right. So pause the video, write your response. Okay. Once you do that, you are done with this lesson. That's it. Congratulations. All right. So hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you enjoyed not just this lesson, but all of them. I really do hope uh, some of it sticks to you and you remember years down the road. Even if you don't remember my name, if you just remember what I taught you, because it can help you and it can benefit you down the road. Okay. So, you guys take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later. Okay.